Hello, jewelry lover. My name is Bella Naiman, and I'm the founder of New York City Jewelry Week. Welcome to this virtual program, part of NYCJW 24. The theme for the seventh annual edition is Wander and Wander, and it reflects the multifaceted nature of jewelry as both art and personal expression. Wander captures the awe-inspiring craftsmanship behind each piece, the dazzling, delicate, or bold details that turn your head in admiration. Wander invites you to explore the wonderful and wild creative journeys behind the jewelry. It's not just about the finished piece, it's about the adventure it took to get there. Designers experiment, push boundaries, and play with ideas and materials. And this year, New York City Jewelry Week takes participants to see it all unfold. Every necklace, ring, and bracelet is a passport to a new world where innovation reigns and imagination knows no limits. So we hope that these programs will take you on that journey and are your passport as well. Sit back, enjoy, and while these are not live, we welcome your comments. So please don't hesitate to drop us a line, whether it's email or Instagram, or even get in touch with some of the incredible curators, artists, writers that have really worked very hard to bring you this program. So thanks very much. And we also hope to see you out in New York. Bye.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to NYC Jewelry Week 2024. And I have the pleasure today of introducing Momo Hassan-Odukale. And Momo is a multi-hyphenate. She is both the founder of GIDA Journal, as well as a celebrated fashion stylist and editor, straddling between London and Lagos. And she has kindly accepted our invitation to delve into her jewelry loves, her jewelry closet, and how she wears jewelry with the theme, speaking to our theme of this year. So, Momo, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Mazzi.
No, it's an absolute pleasure to have you. Really, really delighted that you were able to come and to make it. So, NYC Jewelry Week, we are unapologetic jewelry lovers, and I have observed that over the years that you and I have interacted, that you are too.
Yeah, I am.
Journeying, with you through your sort of jewelry story so far as a collector, as a stylist, I hate using the word because I think influencer has become such an abused word. I would like to see a tastemaker and jewelry tastemaker and introducing people to different ways of enjoying pieces or even exploring ways to wear them. So I'm just going to start from the top, which was, what are your first and earliest jewelry related memories? And if you can share with us, the slides have come up.
Nice. I think my earliest memory is definitely with my mom. She actually used to sell jewelry on the side, kind of just like a fun side hustle situation. And I would go with her to her friends' house. I would go with her to her friends' houses. And I remember she'll be bringing out these, I guess, like these beautiful sets of like all different kinds, like diamonds, different kinds of stones. I feel like that is probably where my love from jewelry started. Just being around it, and I guess just seeing like how it can change one's outfit or like the story it can tell. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, your mum here in this particular piece, and we're going to talk about this one earlier. So you think about those jewelry-related memories, and your mum's side hustle being that was she bringing pieces in to Nigeria, or was she and these were from all around the world?
Exactly. Yeah, she would travel to different places to go and buy like the jewelry, these sets. I feel like when people were like getting married, they would come to her, or just like women who just wanted like new additions to their wardrobes would come to her. And she would always have literally just like the most beautiful jewelry that she would be selling.
Oh wow, so your mum was almost creating a jewelry edit for a certain sort of Lagosian lady, because obviously they were not just coming to her for the pieces, but I imagine in her selection she was kind of again setting that jewelry style agenda, which sort of ties in a little bit with what you do now. You can sort of see a thread.
Yeah.
No. And tell us a little bit more about this heart piece pendant.
I'm actually wearing it, as you can see, but it's
you're wearing it now. So tell us a little bit more about this piece.
Yeah, it was probably one of the ones I would say that were the first pieces I was given that I can remember, that I still cherish. And my mom used to wear this piece just all the time. And now I wear like almost every day. It's just like kind of part of my wardrobe. And it's this like heart with these white diamonds that I literally wear everything. And I think, yeah, that was probably my first. This is probably the first piece that I can remember that's still special to me. I also remember, I think I had this Hermes cuff, this white big one. I think my dad gave me that I still have today, but I don't wear. But like maybe I will again soon. But that is more of like I feel like it's more like trendy, and this is just like more special.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can't go wrong with a heart pendant, and you can sort of seeing how your mum styled it with trad, and then seeing you wearing it now. They can really see the sort of hardy perennial element. And people often think of heirloom pieces as things you can only wear in a formal setting, or that you can't sort of transform every day. But when it is something as, versatile as a pendant, especially a heart-shaped one, I think all the major jewelry houses have at some juncture or another created an iteration. And it's really interesting seeing you with that. And so what I love about this, seeing this pendant that belongs to your mum and that you're now wearing, is one really sees the versatility of heirloom pieces, because I think a lot of times people assume if it's an heirloom piece, it's just literally strictly for formal, traditional, and you're wearing it very much in an everyday setting and sort of showing that idea of a piece that can now become an intrinsic part of yourself, as much as also, obviously being a high value piece. And I just wanted to ask you, because you made mention of the fact that your father bought you an MS piece, and a lot of people who'll be listening won't necessarily know that in Nigeria and in other parts of West Africa, there's a lot of sort of discussion and discourse between custom pieces that you get your home jeweler or your private jeweler to make, and pieces from like the big branded houses from the Place Vendôme. And I want to get your perspective. Do you prefer one over the other? Are there particular designers that you either collaborate with from a private aspect, or are you also particularly drawn to any of the, more well-known jewelry houses that we have, or even any of the new avant-garde ones in Africa?
I think in terms of like the Western, like known fashion brands, I tend to go for like the vintage pieces. I think generally I love vintage pieces. I love that sense of exclusivity and just having something that I feel like is special to me and not, I guess, to everyone else. And you can kind of really find that with vintage pieces, like this Miu Miu one here. And I think also
tell us a little bit more about it.
It's just this vintage Miu Miu set that I was wearing to a wedding, and I feel like it is like fashion jewelry. It is Miu Miu's. I don't think any of the stones are necessarily real. But I just love these pieces, especially from like these Western designers that vintage, and I think that's what I'm drawn to when I'm wearing those brands. It's never really something new. Also, the necklace I'm wearing now is a vintage Dior necklace as well.
No, what I love about this particular piece in the slide, Momo, is, and it sort of speaks to Miu Miu's fashion ethos as much as their jewelry offering, of it being very playful, and you can sort of see that in the proportions. And then you can also sort of see, and in a way, that's where fashion and costume pieces do allow you to go a bit more crazy with proportions, because you're not necessarily thinking, if I could find a 40-carat tourmaline, and then the price inevitably gets a little bit sort of stratospheric, shall we say. But I also love the way this idea, this notion of vintage pieces. I mean, I think people hear a lot about vintage clothing, but people don't necessarily think about vintage costume jewelry and vintage fashion brand jewelry, because there is a long heritage of a lot of fashion houses like Halston, Dior, and Miu Miu Prada, actually working with a lot of really noted creative directors to make pieces that work in concert with their apparel choices. So it doesn't surprise me as a fashion stylist that you would be drawn to such. But let me, share with everybody here, because some might not know in your handles, that you both founded GIDA, which is a journal, periodical that comes out, and it's sort of got a strong focus on travel within the global south. And yet at the same time, there's also really a strong language of aesthetics I think you're proposing from, Gen Z and younger in Africa, in the global south. It's also almost a postcard of aesthetics, norms, passions, interests, as well as travel. And I see this as a thread also with your private fashion styling work, where you are sort of proposing different ways for people to dress and proposing different ways for people to approach how they wear jewelry. And I just wanted to get your take on what informs your process, what informs your edit. And I think we've got a couple of lovely images to illustrate the point.
Yeah. I think jewelry is just like a key to telling the story in a shoot and in life generally. With my outfit, personally and on shoots, I actually sometimes will start with jewelry I want to wear or I need for the shoot. And I think after moving to Lagos from London, I think 2019, and starting to style here, I couldn't always find the right pieces that I wanted. Even though now we do have so many amazing local brands, jewelry brands, and the space is really growing, it was also just fun to create or like customize pieces that didn't exist, or just a way of really like telling the story more. So yeah, it's I always think about jewelry like as important as I think about the outfits whenever I'm styling.
Yes. And I see here what's really interesting here, and it speaks to this year's theme of wonder and wonder. I want to ask you about that, because obviously you're a massive traveler, and also as a lover of jewelry, you obviously like to be enthralled, because I think that's something that, whatever your taste or jewelry era that you particularly are drawn to, I think that it's something one can really see in this particular selection that you're wearing here. And I just want to ask you, how would you see wonder and wonder being expressed in your jewelry choices? And if you could also take us through some of the pieces you're wearing in this slide.
Yeah, I think wonder and wonder kind of perfectly sum up my journey. Just like wandering across Africa for GIDA Journal has been central to my work and my life and my jewelry collection. And each trip kind of brings a sense of wonder, like discovering new artists, new craftsmanship, new just like ideas, meeting new people. Whether it's like an amazing ring that I just want to take home, or an artist's work, or just I guess like being open and seeing new things. And I'm constantly inspired by creativity. And I also just love sharing that with others. So I think those two words kind of really sum up perfectly what I do and who I am.
Definitely. And it's interesting because, again, we've got another heart pendant. This one's different to the one that your mum gave you.
Yes.
But then we also have a star. as
Yeah.
well.
Star is actually from Ethiopia when I was doing GIDA Journal Volume 2. And I remember we went to this, I honestly don't remember what the place is called, but there's an area in Addis that just has loads of jewelry stalls next to each other. And I got stuff from there. And
yes, it's the historic.
Yeah.
It's the historic jewelry district. And I want to actually ask you a little bit about that while we're on the topic of both, I think a lot of people think of Africa as just a resource spot for, especially with the modern Western jewelry houses. They come, they get their gemstones, they get the precious metals, and they keep on moving. But obviously, as you just pointed out, there's, historic jewelry districts in many African countries, both, in their sort of post-colonial format, and obviously those communities that lived in countries that now maybe, places that now be in 3 countries. I think of the Akan, for example, and goldsmithing. So you see it from Cote d'Ivoire to Ghana to Togo. Yeah. But I want to ask you a little bit about that with contemporary African jewelry and also the vintage pieces. Are there any specific locations where you fall in love with the jewelry style and, on your travels with GIDA, where you're like, oh my goodness, and gone wild in the Isles? And are there any particular materials? I think you've got a beautiful slide of some, almost looks like a treasure trove of silver pieces and materiality.
Exactly. So I am kind of more drawn to silver, and wear more silver than gold. I think Dakar was definitely like one of the places that I was like,
wow,
I want to buy everything. Like I will get everything. Most of my rings, like some of the ones I'm wearing now, are from Dakar. I think I've traveled there like 4 different times, and every time I go, I just get new pieces, especially new rings that I love. And people are always asking, like, where did you get this from? And I'm like, it's genuinely from when I travel. I love especially like fun rings and rings that feel, I guess, unique to the city that I'm in. And yeah, I think Dakar would be the one place that stands out for me for like kind of like when I feel like I really fell in love with the rings, especially because I've always been in love with jewelry. That was where I started growing my ring collection that wasn't just my mom's but also mine.
No, I love that. And it's really interesting because I think with jewelry collectors, people tend to have a bias. Like they're either rings people or they're earrings people. I was talking to someone else earlier about this, or they're necklace people. And would you say you're more of a rings girl?
No, I honestly think all. I kind of just always want to have as much as or like of all of them. I don't think and I also have like my moments, my days. Some days I really can't be bothered to wear things. Like I do just want my hands to be empty. And then other days I'm like, I feel too bare, like I need to wear all my rings. So it really just depends. I don't think I have a favorite. I think maybe growing up, it would be always that my mom would always be like, wear your earrings, or like, why don't you have your earrings on? So that kind of always stuck to me. And now I definitely cannot go out without any earrings. But I think I have a mutual love for all.
I think that's a real cultural thing, the not wearing your earrings. I think it's something that, again, viewers who are tuning in from other parts of the world, in Africa, you're considered naked if you've got piercings in your ears and there's nothing in there. And people will stop you, like at a party, and say, you're not wearing your earrings, what happened? And you're thinking, maybe it was a day I just wanted to go bare on my face and stack it up in the bottom and stuff. But I think it's really interesting as well about materiality, and you're being drawn to silver, and especially for those who don't know, Dakar has such a rich silversmithing and filigree, and in terms of the craftsmanship that you can find there, it's extraordinary. So do you get all of your pieces from vintage on a vintage tip, or do you actually ever have new pieces commissioned when you're out in Dakar?
Sometimes they are new pieces. I think actually most of the rings are new. It really depends. I don't think I really don't have a bias towards new pieces or old pieces. It's really just what I'm drawn to. And I feel like with silver, sometimes you really can't tell anyway, because once it's cleaned or like once it still kind of just looks the same once it has that silver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm going to ask you a really horrible question to ask anybody who collects jewelry and loves jewelry. It's almost like asking someone to pick between their children. But do you have favorite pieces that unfailingly are? And if you'd like, I think we maybe have some images of others for favorite pieces. Wow.
My answer to that
Can
is
you tell us a little bit more?
But I do love this strawberry necklace because I feel like it's so unique. I really haven't seen anything like it. Is it my favorite piece? No, but like I really love it, and so that's why I'm sharing it, because I just think it's so unique and fun.
And,
yeah.
And tell us a bit more about where you got it. It's bloody amazing. Wow, I've never seen anything like it myself either.
I got it in a vintage jewelry shop in London. I can't remember the name, but it's this amazing shop that actually just has like the most beautiful pieces that my best friend told me about. I have no idea what it's called, but it's from a vintage jewelry shop in London.
And tell me, is it are the strawberries made of ceramic? I can't really see very clearly. I was trying to zoom in on my screen, but what's the materials?
I think
the strawberries made of
gold plated. And I'm not sure what it is, but they're like, I'm not sure actually. I don't think it's ceramic, but I know that
because it's also a bit. And also absolutely extraordinary, and they're like almost seem like the actual size of strawberries. So it's also they're also like a delicious palette, and it brings me back to sort of individualism, because you seem to have a very unique point of view, and I think a lot of people sometimes feel very afraid to express that with their jewelry. They will just go to Cartier and buy a love bangle. This is not being shady either way about love bangles or Cartier, or go and get a B0 from Bulgari. I understand that. There's one might even say that's the equivalent of buying a classic black Chanel flat bag. But what I love about how you wear jewelry is you're upending that notion of you can't explore and express and have that individualism. Do you think that's also down to your youth, that you don't feel bound to those traditional jewelry rules? Or would you say that even your mum was also a jewelry rule breaker? I'm just intrigued to get your take.
I think it's personal. I think my mom is definitely all about the real stones, the real diamonds, which I love. She still does have that individual style generally. And I think she's always been one to not follow like trends, which I guess is probably similar to me. But I think it's just very personal. And I definitely don't think it's to do with my age, because I feel like people my age do really love, like as you said, the Cartier bracelets and rings, which I also love. But I don't think they would be as daring or with their jewelry. I don't know. I think it's personal to my style and like to the things that I like, places I like to travel to, the arts that I like to see, the people whose work I want to wear. Like it might not be the most famous jewelry designer. I might want to be supporting like a local brand from a market in Dakar or in wherever. So yeah, I think it's just a very personal thing.
Awesome. And we're going to end with the personal quick fire round, just 3 questions. And you don't have to think too deeply about them. So, diamonds or pearls?
Diamonds.
Diamonds or pearls? Diamonds. Okay. This one's pretty obvious because you've already given the game away, but I was going to say gold or silver.
Silver, for sure.
Every time.
Every
And
time.
my final question to you, if you had to only wear one thing for the rest of your life, would it be earrings or rings?
Ooh, earrings.
Earrings. So I suppose like that.
Thing that we spoke about. The earrings for sure.
You don't want to be You don't want to be stopped in these Lagos streets. Like, what's going on with
Yeah,
Momo?
yeah. It has to be the earrings.
Awesome. And tell me, do we have any chance in the next GIDA Journal of a sort of jewelry special? I almost feel that we need a page or three of you sort of exploring African travel via a jewelry lens.
Yeah,
The readers demand it. We
definitely.
demand it.
It's definitely coming. It's definitely coming.
Fantastic. Momo, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you in NYC Jewelry Week. Thank you so much for taking that time to share with us a little bit about your jewelry story, your jewelry closet, and giving everyone who's listened sort of food for thought of how to wear. Just dare to be different and dare to be themselves. I think it's the massive takeaway from our chat today.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you.